See where we're at. It says I'm live, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Hang on. Am I live? Am I live? Need to make sure. Yes, here I am. It's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. New, says YouTube. Moderators, I tried that for one day, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But maybe this is something new. Either way, we'll have to wait and see. So hang on a second. Okay. So I'm live here and I'm live there. Perfect. Okay, so it's a new moon. Should I give it a minute? Maybe one or two. One person is here. Hello, one person. Or once again, is it me? Because I have it on the laptop muted, and over here, the camera, my phone. Let's see. Okay. In the meanwhile, I'm going to say that this was semi-spontaneous. I threw out a short a few hours ago. I haven't broadcast in over, it's been over a month, I think, since I went live. And I had a few shorts, but I really did miss going live, and I had the opportunity now. Hang on. Fix this. Right. I had the opportunity now, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. It's late. It's after 10. It's 10:20-ish here in Israel. And I'm feeling thankful. I'm feeling grateful after this Monday. I'm still, wait, hang on a second. Okay. Okay, cool. I actually wanted to go live on Sunday night. It didn't work out, but I'm happy I'm doing it now. All right, so. There were a few comments. So first of all, I did, a couple of months ago, I don't precisely remember, I did a 174-month Dreads update. It had been a long time since I'd done one of those updates. And even though past a certain point there may not be that much to update on, Bongo Ikno said, the top may fall out, but the Congos hold firm. I know from experience, he said. Oh, hey, Mr. 3T. Hi, sir, how are you? He says, I'm doing very, very well, thank you. And how are you this evening, this fine new moon, Mr. 3T? And other people who are here, hello, hi there. It's a new moon. Tell me where you're at. Tell me what you're doing. Ask me anything. So the top may fall out, he said, because, a year ago, I suppose, maybe a couple years ago, it started thinning a little bit here on top. And now these hairs are still normal hairs. They haven't locked up. So they might fall out, and I'm okay with that. Whatever grows, grows. Whatever falls out, falls out. So he says the top may fall out, but the Congos hold firm, which is sort of what I thought would happen, and we'll have to see. Depending on my particular circumstances and genetics. The dreads, as I said many times, it's still just hair. I may wake up tomorrow completely bald. I don't know what. And it's still, right, it's an external mark, and it means something to me, but it's still just hair. Hi, where are you from, says Arav. Arav? Okay. I am in Jerusalem, and where are you from? What are you up to? Wander says, hello, Fazuma Gulosa from Brazil. Hey there, Wander from Brazil. It's good to see you, man. After a very long time, maybe you've forgotten me. Now that you mention it, I've forgotten the exchanges that we had, but the username does ring a bell. You were on relatively recently, I'm assuming. Con sanasa kia hey or hi. So what does it mean? Is it in Portuguese, right? They speak Portuguese in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. So tell me what it means. Okay, so I have mint tea this evening, and I'm happy to be here, happy to do this live stream. It's a new moon, it's a chance for new beginnings, and for peace. In the Torah, the new moon is a time of atonement, and there is a goat that is brought, a specific, right, from every new moon. The Levites would sing specific pieces from the psalm, and the trumpets and the horn would sound, and I the one thing I'm still doing that's not vegan, I sound the shofar, the horn, on the day of the new moon, meaning tomorrow I will be sounding it. And I heard someone sound it earlier today, since this particular month is 2 days of new moon, one being the end and one being the beginning, where sometimes it's only tonight, the beginning. Arav is from India for sure. So is it a long A like Arav, or is it Arav? How do you, right? Is it the, where do you put the emphasis? Arav, so he called you a rabbi. Who's he? I'm not sure who he is, but no, I am not a rabbi, that's for damn sure. Nor do I plan to be. Jeddah says, what's good? I'll tell you what's good. So many things are good. And it's important to acknowledge them because there are also so many things that suck. And so, what's good? Life in general, right now. If I can be here with you, good people, Monday night, it's cold out there, but it's nice and warm in here. I have a cup of tea. There's so much to be thankful for, so much to be grateful for. So, what's good? Pretty much, nearly damn everything is good. And I really, truly hope that goodness will spread around the world. Wolf's Chans, or Wolf's, yes, Wolf's Chans. What's going on, my Hebrew? Things are going really, really well, as I was just saying. Maybe you caught the end of it. And what's going on with you, wolf? Are you an alpha wolf, a lone wolf? Tons of people use that lone wolf thing, but many times it's a pack, isn't it? Is that the animal model for loneliness, or, well, lonesomeness? Jeddah says that's good. Yeah, many things suck, but what can you really do about it? But what can you really do but live it and enjoy what you have? Precisely. I'm all for keeping my head in the clouds and my feet firmly on the ground, and the gratitude attitude has so many benefits. I know this from experience. It's not a cope, for me anyway. It's a real, genuine effort to see, even from the big to the small, right? That whole infinity in a grain of sand idea, and to give thanks where we can. And this is something the Torah teaches throughout the 5 books of Moses. Okay. What's time now, brother? It's 10:26 p.m. on the new moon. So it's the second moon, right? The second month, biblically. It's the 8th month. Well, it's the 8th month from the Feast of Trumpets, what's known as Rosh Hashanah, the New Year. There are 4 New Years in the Hebrew halacha, in the Hebrew faith. I had a great weekend, says Wolf. The weather is wonderful, and I sorted the pool. I'm happy that the pool was sorted. What is it about the pool? Was it clogged? Was it dirty? Did you have to call a guy, or do you do your own maintenance? How big a pool? Are we talking a small little thing like a hot tub size, bit more? Are we talking an Olympic or semi-Olympic pool? We need the details, man. You can't just say I sorted the pool. Or perhaps you're a pool maintenance individual, right? And that's what you do, and you went and you fixed all sorts of pools. So, the weather is wonderful. It's great to hear. Are you a summer person or a winter person? People, tell me in the chat. We'll see. We have a few people here. Let's see if we are more winter people or summer people. I am forever a summer person. Truly. Hare Krishna, says Arav. Now, some would say it's blasphemous. But, no judgment here. We're all born into our culture. Now, Krishna, is he one of the avatars? I forget my Hindu lore. Not that I knew that much of it at any time. But Krishna, right? It's one of the avatars of is it Shiva? If I'm not mistaken. Right? He's one of those revelations according to the Hindu faith. Correct me if I'm wrong. It reminds me of the musical Hair, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 10 by 10 meters. Nice. I do my own maintenance. Summer for me, naked time. Yes. Summer indeed is naked time. I'll give you that. And 10 by 10, that's really good. And you do your own good. You save the money. Summer for me. Well, I'm Australian, so I'd rather winter when possible, says Jeddah. I understand. I understand why you would, want that. I hear you. The dry season, the wet season. Sir, how did you know Hare Krishna song from the musical Hair? Love, freedom, happiness. The musical Hair, I've never seen it performed live on stage, but I have enjoyed the musical for many years. I saw the film once, maybe twice, and I've quoted it, right? Long as God can grow it, my hair. That idea of, right, so I used to get a little depressed in the winter, and not recently, I must say, not very recently. Okay, let's see. Let's continue. Don Water Gypsy said, this is a few days ago, and I'll go back and forth to the chat if there are people here. XRP Kidotech says hello. Hello, XRP. How you doing? Blessings unto you. He says, Rastafari, I says, what about him? He says, have you accepted that he is the one spoken of in the book of Revelation, as he has crowned the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah? And if you reject him as Christ in his kingly character, what is your reason? And I told him I follow the Hebrew Bible, not the Christian Bible, so it has no real relevance to me. I have nothing to say about the book of Revelation or His Imperial Majesty's divinity or lack thereof. And I told him I've read some excerpts, or maybe not a full speech, but excerpts, if not the whole speech, of several of Haile Selassie's speeches over the years, and he said some very true things about spirituality and about that relationship between religion and spirituality, and I found it very true and moving. I don't know about him as a leader, emperor of Ethiopia, right, crowned in 1930. I don't know about that. I didn't live there. But that whole Rastafari thing, as far as I know, he never denied nor embraced that idea that the Rastas see him as God incarnate and the second coming of Jesus Christ. So, since I don't know Revelation and I don't know what happened there, I know that Rastafarians did go to see him. They sent a delegation. He showed up in Jamaica, whatever the case may be, or both, and he knew, I think, that this is what they see him as, and that they think, some of them, all of them, that he is a God incarnate. And I don't think he denied nor accepted that role. If I recall, and I don't know where I'm recalling it from, he sort of told them, keep doing what you're doing. That's what I seem to remember, but I might be wrong. Those of you who may be more versed in that history of Rastafari and Rastafarians, do you know what happened there? I'm not sure. Okay, let's head back to the chat. Sir, I am from the States. I've just discovered you. I never heard of Nazarene sect. So Nazarene means of Nazareth. Nazarite means taken on the vow of a Nazir in Hebrew. So it appears, the original vow appears in Numbers 6, before the priestly blessing, and after the woman gone astray. And they weren't precisely ever a sect. Unlike other sects and groups, any one of those sects and groups could have Nazarites in it. And there are the Essene Nazarites who did pull out of Jerusalem, settle in the Judean desert because of the infighting and the strife and the grief. They decided that they're pulling out, and they still observed holidays at the temple, if I'm not mistaken, but the Essene Nazarites were a sect. They were not seen as very, they weren't seen with a very favorable eye, I think, in the eyes of our sages, and probably not in the eyes of the Pharisees either, if you equate them or conflate them, right, our sages and the New Testament's Pharisees. So, while there may very well be sects, I don't think the Nazarite people, men and women, were ever a sect unto themselves. Again, the Essene Nazarites may have been. So it's always good to make the name of Nazarite known in the world, as the Rabbi Nazarite David Cohen said. He said, if I only had come to this world for that purpose, to make the Nazarite, the name of Nazarite known again in the world, it would have been worth it. So if you've never heard of it and you hear now of the Nazarite vow, I urge you to read Numbers 6 and the story of Samson in the book of Judges, and see a little bit about what that is. Okay. Wolf says, as the Torah says that many characters live for long periods, Methuselah 900 or so, 900 I think, and 69, could they have been counting the full moons? That would make the ages more reasonable, no? So one thing you need to know, I don't necessarily think that everything that is written in the Torah happened as such historically, precisely like that in the physical world. The physical Torah that we have, the scrolls that we have, the books that we have, with the 5 books of Moses, are the physical manifestation of something spiritual, and as such, in the physical world, they can be, well, it's not precisely the same as where it's not exactly the same by the time it comes down to here. It's not precisely what it was, but it's through this physical text and through these commandments and through these ideas and teachings that we can reach that higher, right, that higher consciousness and closeness to the Most High God. And so when you say that they lived for long periods, and it says that Methuselah lived for 900 and something years, right? Now, what is it? Is it 969? Something like that, 900 and... I think that it could have happened exactly like that, but it doesn't bother me if it hadn't happened exactly like that. And it wouldn't even bother me if people say it's all a myth. It's the teachings and the wisdom that's inside of it that counts. The commandments we keep, the covenants we make. So it doesn't have to be history for me. I want to preface that. Now, could they have been counting the full moons? I doubt it. It would make the ages more reasonable, but I'm not looking for reason. If I was looking for logic and reason, it isn't there. That's not what the Torah is, even though certain things can make sense. An integral part of the commandments, it's broken down, basically, right, into ones that we could have perceived, let's say, with our own common sense, ones which make sense, but we wouldn't necessarily have perceived it on our own, and one that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, and we keep them simply because they are divine word and commandment. Those are the 3 main categories of commandments. In the same way, with them living for a long time, I think that reason, if you're going to go simply with reason, it may not, the Torah may not speak and reveal itself to you in a way which is conducive to reaching that higher path, that higher consciousness. If you were looking at something, let's say, irrational, and you're seeking the rationality within it, maybe you'll find it, maybe you won't, but then that's a question of faith. I hope that kind of addresses, if not answers, the question. What do you people think? Did people actually live 900 and something years? I'm inclined to say yes, because why not? And I'm inclined to say no, it's there to teach us something about the nature of time and life being long and what it means and so on and so forth. Hey, Kyle is back. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. What is the Jewish perspective on homosexuality transvestites? I can't give you the Jewish perspective. I can give you my perspective. So it's not Jewish in any way other than, me being a Jew of Judea, but I don't represent the Hebrew people. I'm just one small man. Now, the Jewish perspective, I'd venture before that, you'd have to read the Torah and you'd have to read the oral law to see what the Jewish perspective is halachically. As for transvestites, both are mentioned in the, right, by transvestites you mean cross-dressers? Both things are mentioned. Homosexuality is mentioned in the Torah with the physical act of anal sex between 2 men. Transvestite dressing is mentioned in the sense of that man shouldn't wear a women's clothing and vice versa, or the tools that are special for men versus women, and articles of whatever the case may be. Now, first of all, my perspective, regardless of any commandment or right, I stay out of other people's bedrooms. As far as I'm concerned, it's live and let live. And at the very least, dude, don't go into someone's bedroom and start asking questions. So, okay, let's take it from there. XRP says a conversation of Jesus Christ possibly going to India to study theosophy. There with the monks. What's your opinion on this, brother? Well, I don't know anything about Jesus. I read the New Testament exactly one time. And excerpts I've read several times. I've been referenced to verses here and there. People have asked me to check out this verse, that verse. But if you have, let's say, right, Yeshu, who is a sage at the time of the Second Temple, let's say before he went awry, when he was a sage, to go to study theosophy in India with those monks, I think it would be against the Torah, seeing as how they are polytheistic, if I'm not mistaken, right? The monks were polytheistic. Hinduism is polytheistic, right? It has many deities, many gods, if I'm saying it right, whatever the term is, right? Many gods. And the Hebrew faith and the Torah say, no, one God. We can't perceive God, but there's a oneness. So my opinion would be, it doesn't make sense if Jesus was the scholar and rabbi that we know that is mentioned. He would not go to India, I think. And if he would go to study, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about theosophy as a discipline and a field, right? So I don't know. To study anything, I'm thinking it wouldn't be the case. It wouldn't be the case because, as far as I know, or as far as I've read, not know, he said, I didn't come to, I came to keep the law. Right? I didn't come to do away with it. Right? I came to keep it. I came to fulfill it. People see the differences in the different translations. So I don't have a concrete opinion because I don't know anything about Hindu theosophy at the hands of monks, nor do I know anything about Jesus. So other people do join in. That conversation is something that I would have to sort of look at from the sideline. Taylor, hey Taylor, good to see you, man. Have you watched Yellow Jackets? I highly recommend the show. Season 3 seems to reference Shimon and Levi. Yes, I think I haven't watched it. You mentioned it. Someone mentioned it. Could have been you. No, I haven't yet. I probably haven't thought of it again since whoever it was mentioned it, but I hopefully will remember now and I put it there in the tab. Kyle Govender says, I never asked. I just assumed it was the same as Islam and Christianity. Okay. I wouldn't assume that halacha is the same as Islam and Christianity. I wouldn't assume text, let's say, aside, or sources aside, the ruling, the law, and the way it came about, and the way that punishment came about, in what way, without knowing Islam, right, Sharia, without knowing the Christian edicts or rulings I don't know. I would think it's not the same as Islam and Christianity in the final, right? What is the directive? How do we go about it? The Sanhedrin, you must remember, the Sanhedrin that killed a person legally once every 7, or some say 70 years, was named fatal. The Sanhedrin, the High Court in Jerusalem, did everything that it could every time so a person would not be facing execution. And it made it very, very difficult to find someone guilty of that crime which would necessitate putting him to death or her, even though the Torah is filled with, oh, this commandment, kill them. Oh, this commandment, yeah, they should die. It wasn't like that de facto in reality, in the physical reality of halacha, of Jewish law, Hebrew law. XRP says, I sense a lot of perversion in the Western concept of religion. To me, it seems that most faiths originated in Tibet. Then those philosophies turned into stories to grasp the audience that the priest is preaching to. Well, look, anything that you turn into a story, I think, will immediately be more captivating to a larger audience. I'm not saying dumb it down, make it a great story, but story is something that, right, a narrative. It's what we live. We live our story. We can connect to stories. The inner world aligns with it. So, a lot of perversion of religion. One can make the case that any kind of organized man-made religion or man-added religion, in the sense that people add to a religion which they say is divine, that it's already in and of itself a perversion. I think that because religion is an establishment, because in some religions anyway, you have that idea of power and of being representative of God, no less, and all kinds of things of that nature, whatever that means. The Western concept of religion, can you give an example? Is it okay if I ask for an example of where you see between East and West that perversion? I think religion as such, organized religion as such, can be corrupted. It doesn't surprise me ever when it is corrupted by individuals or by groups, because ideology can be a problem. It can be a problem when it grabs hold of you. It can be a problem when it's something that causes you to, what would it be? Jordan Peterson uses the phrase to violate your conscience. Okay, let's continue here in the chat. I'm having fun. Thanks for being here, good people. Okay. Kyle says, the way they taught me in a Christian school, the absurd age thing was a pre-flood thing, and then post-flood life became shorter. Yes, that has its basis in the text itself, in the sense that only after the flood does it say that the seasons and the different the different patterns of weather and so on, there was a prior to that and after that. And there is the idea, I don't remember who originally put it forth, that it was the flood that tilted the earth on its axis. Taylor says, myth or folklore is a metaphysical law that is not verified by empirical data. That is why I don't need archaeological proof anything. The Torah is research into the transcendent sphere. I wholeheartedly agree. And its roots are in that, but the fruits are here. It's here that we follow Torah. It's here that we follow commandments. We can't do it there, and we can't do it, after we die. The time is now. The time is now to grab hold of that covenant. Research into the transcendent sphere through practical, physical commandments and study of Torah. XRP says, I feel like you are just like you, a Nazarite. Jesus was a real boy and a prodigy. From my understanding of Nazarite vows, is it safe to argue that indeed Jesus, instead of bringing an animal sacrifice, is it safe to argue that? I'm sorry. You mean to say that? I'm sorry. I'll read that through again. I feel like you are just like you, a Nazarite. Jesus was a real boy and a prodigy. From my understanding, he says, of Nazarite vows, is it safe to argue that indeed Jesus, instead of bringing an animal sacrifice? I don't know what you mean. You'll have to rephrase the question. Sorry, man. Well, look. No, you know what? I'll just wait for the question. No need to have, hey, Eli's here. Hello, Eli. Good to see you again. Why 2 tablets for 10 commandments instead of one? I think that represents the duality of this world. It's stone tablets, earth, and there are two. Because by the time the Torah comes down here, even when it's divine revelation to Moses, even the first ones where God fashioned the stone, right? There was a revelation of a stone smith, of the stone smith. What's it called? Mason, a stone of right? The stone masonry of God. So I think the two represent that duality. The idea of the ladder in Jacob's dream, where right angels are going up and down. It's a movement here in the world. It's a duality. It's a give and take. There's the feminine waters and the masculine waters. Influence, I mean. Wolf says, love you, bro. Thanks bunches for answering. I'll catch you on the flip side. L'chaim. L'chaim, to life. Thank you, Wolf. I appreciate the kind words. Hopefully I'll catch you again. Taylor 26 says, to Elah, written by the finger of God, 5 on the right and 5 on the left. Yes, of course, right, representing the 10 Sfirot, the tree of life. Oh, I'm sorry. So, okay. So Jesus, instead of bringing an animal sacrifice, chose himself as a sacrifice as his Nazarite vow. Can you explain to me the Nazarite vows and sacrifices at that time and now? So first of all, human sacrifice is not allowed. We read just last week about the human sacrifice of Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aharon, who tried, let's say, to perform the Yom Kippur rituals when it wasn't Yom Kippur, the holiday of atonement. Only later, after their death, did God say, oh, no, 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 that can't be. That kind of divine revelation cannot come at any other time other than Yom Kippurim. The high priest enters the holiest of holies once a year. That's how you do it. And that's what I consider to be human sacrifice. There are no commandments, of course, to sacrifice humans to God. That's not a good thing. Let's not do that. Now, as for the Nazarite vow being a sacrifice, it definitely is a sacrifice. It can be sacrificial in the sense that you're giving up something, right, very plainly, and everything from that until that other end of the spectrum of sacrifice. And no, I won't continue with that. So instead of, is it safe to argue that he chose himself as a sacrifice, even if he did choose to kill himself, martyr himself on that altar of divine worship, which is something that there is a commandment to do, I don't think that he was in one of those situations that necessitated what's called Yeharegu Val Ya'avo, that you ought to be killed and not transgress. Right? Pagan worship, murder, right? Bloodshed, and incest. So, to choose yourself as a sacrifice, the Torah says, yes, do that. While you live, we embrace life. Choose life, says Moses. I give you life and death, a blessing and a curse. Choose life. The Hebrews choose life whenever possible, sometimes to a fault. But we choose life, and we hold dearly to life. And the Nazarite vow being a sacrifice definitely has a sacrificial element. Jesus Christ being himself a sacrifice, that goes into that idea of dying for the sake of Adonai, for the sanctification of the name, the Holy One, blessed be He. And over there, it's only under specific circumstances are you supposed to do that. And so I would say that that's not the case. But please do argue the point, and I might say, oh, you know what, I didn't think of that. Good call. Do tell me. So it has to do with the hay. Yes, it has to do with the hay. There are 2 hays, and there are 2 hays in Yod Hey Vav Hey as well. Taylor says to Elah, 2 tablets sound better than 1. I think it was during the astrological sign of Gemini that Sinai revelation was given. Gemini means twins, right? That's right, Teomim, Sivan. By theosophy, I mean other faiths, other religions. Sorry for any confusion. No, I understood it had to do with other faiths and religions. So I think that if he was a Hebrew man, and as far as I'm concerned, he lived and died a Hebrew man, then it's like you have a well of unending water with the Torah. You should not go seeking pagan ways. They are great, but they're not for you. You're a Hebrew man. You made a covenant with the Hebrew God. Learn Torah. Do good in the world. That's the Torah. Allah says, yes, and your left a twin of the right. Yes, it's that mirroring. Precisely. That's exactly how Rabbi Moshe Cordovera opens Pardes Rimonim, with that idea of 10 fingers and 10 toes, and 2 sets of 5, 5, and he gets into that whole thing, and why it's 10 mirroring 10 and 5 mirroring 5, and he goes into it, and the different opinions on why the tree of life is 10 sfirot and how that works. That's how it starts. A lovely beginning. Verified Chinko says, fuck you, stupid Zionist, no one likes you, lol. Yeah, that's true. Only that I'm a lot more stupid than you think I am, and you don't even know the half of it. A Zionist? Yes, I'm a biblical Zionist and a modern Zionist. No one likes you, lol. If you mean to say no one likes me laughing out loud, I don't know. I haven't heard myself laugh out loud properly as a different human being, so I can't comment on that. But yes, I am a stupid Zionist. Okay. Taylor says to Allah, stack the letters together and it will look like a person. Head is the Yod, Hey is the hands and legs, Vav is the chest. Indeed. Indeed it is. 48. What? 48? Oh, I'm sorry. What do you mean? What's 48? Did I mistake something here? No, okay. Taylor26 asks, Hebrew Nazarite, what are some of the New Age groups in Israel? Are there pagan groups in Israel? I don't know. There are New Age groups in Israel, but I have no knowledge of them, never sought them out, and I don't know anything about them, nor about any pagan groups in Israel, which I'm sure also exist. That whole Wiccan thing definitely has, I would think, an appeal to people here in Israel. Yod He Vav He, when adding the Yod Dalet all together, what do you mean? There's the Dalet Mem blood. What do you mean when adding the Yod Dalet all together? Not following you. Yod Ten He, okay, Yod Dalet Vav He. But why the Yod Dalet? Why the 14? Where did you get the 14 from? I'm not getting the Gematria here. Just add the Aleph. I'm not following you, but the 45 is ma, what, or substance. Okay, you know what? Maybe it's too late. It's almost 11 p.m. I'm sorry, I didn't get the Gematria, not when I was reading it anyway. But as I love to say, Gematria is very cool, but I like it as either a beginning or an end of a teaching. And but let's see. Well, okay. I'm sorry, I'm just not getting it. Maybe because it's late. Hey, Reagans is here. Hi, I hope you and your loved ones are keeping well. Yes, we are. I'm happy to be here. Happy to end a fine day here in Jerusalem. All right. XRP says, God bless you, brother. I'm sorry for that Zionist comment from that dude. Hey, get it all the time. It's all good. A lot of Westerners are caught in a terrible conflict. We are getting messages that Judaism is being used my New Testament. Oh, the Hay is the Yod and the Dalet. Yes, of course. We're getting messages that Judaism is being used, my New Testament fanatics, and funding a Zionist state. It seems like colonizing through perversion of scripts, from my understanding. You can't be a colonizer in your own land. And the land of the Jews, Judea, Yehuda, in Israel, we're not colonizing, we are decolonizing. And As for Judaism being used, people will use religion for anything and everything. It's a question of values. It's a question of what you value and how much and what you would do. And it's statements like that. And like I said, biblical Zionism, modern day Zionism, there's there's a difference there, I think. Right? The secular, the religious. As for perversion of scripts, you know what they say, two Jews, three opinions. It's like we can't agree on so many things. And if you do something and you say, no, I'm doing it the orthodox way, the right way, the direct way, somebody will call you a perverser of the scripts, a raper of the texts. We can't agree on anything. We understand that, but should Israel really be forcing itself into a state? Now, isn't that the question? That's the question that was for many years, and now with such ideas as post-Zionism, it's even more of a question of what if the extreme Haredi, ultra-Orthodox zealots were right? What if Neturei Karta, who are siding with Iran, were right? What if we were not meant to come back here until? I still think that, well, first of all, let's put it this way. Whereas in the first returning to the land, we still had prophets, we didn't have prophets this time. There were always Hebrews living in Israel, a small amount perhaps, but they were here. Along with others, right? Arabs and Muslims and Christians and so on. That idea of, no, we are going to make a state that is Jewish and democratic. And people saying, no, but it says in the Midrash, it says in the external teachings that you must wait for God to deliver you. There must be repentance, there must be atonement, there must be tshuva, then you will be called back. Now, here's how I see it. I understand that perspective, what's known as the three oaths, written in the Song of Songs, right? The Songs of Solomon, Shir HaShirim. First of all, we have the Torah before Shir HaShirim. The Torah says, you sin, you transgress, you don't do right in the eyes of God, you don't treat each other right, you don't keep the Sabbath, you don't keep the Sabbath of the land, you steal from each other, you're out. The land itself will kick you out. It will throw you up and toss you out. And even then, right, and you will be sold into slavery, and you will be just completely annihilated, almost annihilated by your enemies, inside and out, and still the covenant will hold. The covenant will hold, and you will eventually come back to the land of your fathers and mothers. It doesn't necessarily say that you would have to wait for a prophet, you would have to wait for an anointed one, you would have to wait for a king. It says that when you start, right, when there's repentance, you will be called back to the land. And the covenant between Adonai and the people of Israel remains, whether in Israel or the diaspora, all over earth and across the universe. That covenant exists and persists throughout the generations. Did the Zionists, religious and otherwise, who in the later half of the 19th century decided to make a movement, right, in the Congress and all that, in the Aliyot, right, 1, 2, 3, 4. They did it because it was a national movement. They didn't say we're there to keep Torah and command. No, that modern day Zionism was mostly secular. Wanting to go back to the land of our fathers and work the land and make the desert bloom and all that. Make peace, perhaps, with those around us. And as I said, there was always a presence there. There was always a presence there, and it's not that Zionism, that whole Zionism is racism. It was a national movement. There were so many other national movements at the time, right? After the World War, between the World Wars, after World War II, different places that were conquered, right, liberated, I don't know what, divided up between empires. It was still empires at the beginning of the 20th century. Ay, 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 ay. People will always perverse things, always. But I don't think it's a perversion that Israel forced itself into a state. I think it was a calling that's very biblical and Mosaic and Torah-oriented in its nature, even if the ones who de facto made the move were the majority, right, were secular, right, people who came to work the land, the kibbutzim, that whole idea. But it has its basis in Torah. It has its basis in those verses. And those verses say that there will be tshuva, there will be returning, there will be repentance. And then we will be able to return. And I think that because there was always a Hebrew presence in the Hebrew land, and I think that because the tshuva is a journey, not a destination, even though there is probably technically a destination, halachically speaking, in the metaphysical and spiritual and also religious sense, tshuva knows no boundaries. It's never been fulfilled in fullness, as Rav Kook says in the Lights of Repentance, in this life, in this world. Tshuva, to return fully. I think that returning to the land, even as secular, right, nationalists, who didn't want to make a halachic state, who didn't want to keep Torah necessarily, or the Shabbos, or Kashrut, they wanted to go back to the land of their fathers and mothers, their ancestral homeland, with its basis in Torah, perhaps biblically or historically, but they didn't want to come and form a halachic state, a religious, a theocracy, right? They wanted a Jewish democratic state, which is what it says in the Scroll of Independence, 1948. It's not a question of forcing it. I think it's that it was a beginning or a continuation of something that was in motion. Now, with World War II and the Holocaust and all of that, from the ashes like a phoenix, the state of Israel. Unbelievable. And yet believable. So people can say it's forcing it. People can say, no, you should have waited for a Messiah. You should have waited for a true prophet. You should have waited for a clear-cut sign from God. Now you can return. But in the Torah, it doesn't say that we are not allowed to return until that. It says that along with that returning, there is repentance. Along with that returning, there is that understanding that we have done something wrong and we want to make it right. And you mentioned the Nazarite vow. Who was it before? The Nazarite vow, as soon as you take that vow, you are immediately 100% a Nazarite. There's no half measures, let's say. In the very same way, when you have that thought of tshuva, a movement towards tshuva, returning spiritually, returning religiously, returning geographically to the land of your fathers and mothers. There's a movement there that is the physical movement of a spiritual one towards tshuva. Just like in the vision of the dry bones in Ezekiel, where he brings it all together, and the blood vessels and the sinew and everything, and it's all just like a shell. And only then does he call the wind, the spirit from the four corners. Only then do these still inanimate things live. They had no spirit until Ezekiel called for the spirit. So we are now building that physical foundation in the dry bones. We are now building, right, with blood and guts. We are building this state, not forcing it, I think. I don't think so. I think it's just phase one. And when this physical thing is ready, the Spirit will be called by a Messiah, an anointed one, a prophet, a leader. I don't know how it will go down. Just like in the dry bones. And God asks him, God asks Ezekiel, tell me, Ben Adam, son of man, will these bones live? What does Ezekiel say? Atayadata, you know. Knowledge, union. Let's continue here in the chat. Kyle asks, how do you rationalize the anti-Zionist sentiment post-October 7th? I, for the life of me, cannot pre-October 7th. It was just the neo-Nazis. Um, I think I don't rationalize it. I think it's a lot of propaganda and that gets to people who don't live here, who don't know the history. That's it. Plain as if I was watching the news or scrolling websites, reading papers, getting snippets on various platforms, social media, WhatsApp, whatnot, of all of the bombings and of families ruined and limbless children and oh my God, war is hell. War is absolute hell. And to watch it go down, sometimes live. And I was watching that, and it was the Israeli Air Force, the Israeli infantry, the Israeli tanks, the Israeli government, the Israeli Shabak, the Israeli police, those Israelis causing so much misery and the death toll rising. And I would be looking at that and say, oh my God, this can't be something that a benevolent force does. This can't be something that a moral army does. This can't be something that a sensible democratic nation does. I'm only saying that to say that I dig it. I understand where they're coming from. I think they should do their research before they spout off, but I do understand where they're coming from. If that's what I'm watching and that's what I'm getting, by the time it reaches me, personally me, and obviously many others, it's propaganda by the time it reaches my screen, be it left, right, in Israel, outside of it, whatever. It has an agenda already. Just so the anti-Zionist sentiment, I don't rationalize it. I think that it's something, right? Jew hatred is irrational. And it does have a lot to do with Jew hatred. Because Zionism is basically a national movement of Jews to return to the land of Judea, right? And Israel, the king of the two kingdoms. XRP says, by New Testament, oh, I'm sorry, I read that bit. Israel is really forcing it. I don't know. I hope I addressed that. I did not exhaust, let's say, my ideas on this topic of what he said, that Israel really is forcing itself into a state. XRP says, I love you, brother. Thank you. I don't want to sound like a hater. You don't. I just feel like the devil is using scripture to cause calamity. Well, um, because it's something that is now written, right, by men, for men, it might have a divine origin, but it's written by people, for people. And we are in a world post-Eden, let's say, and we are in a world of good and evil. It means that to the degree that there is good, there is evil, and it's on us to make the right decisions at the right times. So the devil means adversary, right? Satan means adversary. That adversary is calling us, even if it's in a terrible way, to be more than who we are and to be the best that we can be. It also has that pesky little problem of causing calamity when people give too much to that side, right? Of the adversarial side. You always need an adversary, but you want it to be an Edenic one, right? A helpmeet, ezer kenegdo, as it says about Eve, right? A helper, but also somebody who you contend with. So to use scripture to cause calamity is definitely it's definitely doable, and it is indeed done all the time in organized religions specifically. I don't know about other things, but in organized religions and where, yes, because you will always have individuals that will be leaning more towards that, whether it be because of power, because of status, I don't know what. But and some people just want to watch the world burn. XRP says, Israel isn't ready to be a state. Also, most religions have an incentive by devils to corrupt the script for the kings of that time. As Israel is the center, oh, I'm sorry, it jumped just now. As Israel is the center of the earth, it is a major trading land, as it connects most of those lands, says XRP. Yeah, it's on the bridge between Asia, Africa, and Europe. I pray for the truth to be revealed. Me too. I don't agree with any hate of any kind. My heart cannot agree that a nation should be forced in the name of God. But see, it wasn't forced in the name of God. It was, this is our ancestral homeland, and we are back. And until now, it's been majorly a wasteland, with some settlements here and there, Muslim, Christian, Jew, other. I understand that this is a very, very, very complicated subject, XRP continues, and he says, I think this is the trail of our generation, brother. Well, for the people of Israel, the yearning for Israel has always been there ever since we were kicked out again. I also pray for truth to be revealed. And indeed, even though on certain things I might be called, willfully blind and knowingly ignorant, the truth, whatever that may be, ought to be revealed. And I hope that I myself will conduct myself in such a way that more truth will be revealed to me, then I'll be able to integrate it and really work with it and keep doing. Keep doing. Okay. Hebrew, says Elah. The word Hebrew is written as Ivri, correct. It means one from the other side or one who has crossed over. The term is often associated with Abraham who came from Mesopotamia to Canaan. Yes, that is the case. Was there a question? Did I not get that? Okay, yes, Avram Ivri. That's correct. Shalom from Oklahoma. Say, Seek Truth. Hello, hello, Seek Truth. Good to see you again. I understand that they want a state, XRP says, and I think my Jewish brothers and sisters deserve it. But I think my brothers and sisters should be wary. I think the land, he says, does belong to anyone who can respect it. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the land belongs to God, and we need to earn our place there, always. I think that's what we are in the process of doing. Will it always be by bloodshed and war and hatred? I hope not. I hope there will be love and peace and judgment of the positive kind, discernment and understanding, a more nuanced conversation, perhaps, where we can find common ground with our neighbors, to respect the land, to respect each other. That's who it will belong to. I agree. Exactly, Allah, says XRP. But at the time of Abraham, didn't Cyrus the Great free the Jews to go home? No, Cyrus was way after Abraham, according to the Hebrew chronology. Cyrus was after the expulsion to Babylon, right? After Babylon burned the first temple. Koresh, Cyrus, the king of Persia, was the one who defeated Babylon and gave the Jews permission, right? And that's written in the books of Chronicles and in the books of right, Ezra and Nehemiah, the way that they. It's the end of the book of Kings. No, I'm sorry, not the end of the book of Kings. Which one is it? Which prophet? Yirmiyahu? Possibly. Yechezkel? Likely. Was Abraham building a story for new settlers? Was Abraham building a story for the new settlers? Wait, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly. Well, maybe Elah will answer since he was talking to her. Kyle says propaganda is effective, but that effective is just plain absurdity. But that effective is just plain absurdity. Yeah. Jew hatred, man. It's a shape-shifting virus, as I've heard. I heard that attributed to Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. Alav Shalom. Taylor says state of Israel isn't going anywhere. The war is justified. Also, if the Arabs hate Israel so much, maybe they can do more to actually stop Israel. Instead, they are doing nothing. You mean the Arab nations in the region, in the area? Yeah, well, they want the Palestinians to keep their refugee status. That's why they weren't granted citizenship in the countries where they did arrive at the time, or at least for a long time they didn't. Taylor continues. He says, what's sad is that Hamas and Iran don't actually care about their own people. So it would appear from what's coming out of those places and those regimes. They care more about annihilating Israel than giving their people hope and a future. They care more about death, preferably while they get richer. XRP says, I honestly have too much to get off my chest in a healthy, God-loving conversation. Well, if you have too much to get off your chest in a God-loving conversation, then if you have too much of it, well, break it up and give us bit by bit, Maybe make an appearance here sometime when I'm live again, or leave a comment, and, I'll try to address it, either in the comment or when I go live. Ella says, I think incidentally, it's so nice that I press go live and here, it's been an hour, 7 people, 3 likes, and I'm doing this, and it's so, so, so much fun. I enjoy going live. It's been, I said, over a month, I think, since I went live. And the newborn is just at the right about 100 days now. 100 days. He's past the Bli Ain Ra. He's past that initial danger period. And he's doing so well. He's such a good baby. Okay. Ella says, I think all things have the same root. It all comes from the same place. I think use what works best for you. Your ancestors help you, taught your religion. Your ancestors help you through your religion, whatever your family practice. Oh, she was saying that to Kidotech. Okay, she's saying to Kidotech, if your ancestors practice Christianity, then you probably Christian do that. If it works, it works. It's about your love for God, not anyone else. Well, ain't that the truth? Verily, I agree with you, Ella. Yes, I do. Wise words. If it works, it works. It's about your love for God. Taylor says, people don't know history. Jews owned Ottoman settlements in the late 1800s. Petach Tikva settlement was bought by Rothschild. Yeah, I mean, things may have been taken or stolen because of war after right in 1948. It was war. Some of them left, some of them fled, some of them thought they'd be coming back in 3 days, and some people were displaced. That's war. But prior to that, I think the Jews did everything in their power so every land that they have is provenly theirs, whether it be through bill of sale, whether it be through, well, I don't know how else it would be, but they had like a legal claim to the place one way or another. So people who say that the Jews stole the land, it's like, no, maybe after the Arab armies came to war, maybe then, because of different circumstances, sure, yeah, that's part of the nature of war. Losers and winners, to keep those people in refugee status for generations is cruel. And I understand that yearning for a land. I do. But still. Okay, let's continue. People don't know history. Right, and I don't claim to know all history, but I tried to make it my business to know the history of where I'm at and where I'm from. Your relationship with God is your own, says Ella. Yeah, it's your own. Now, Torah and commandments are also a communal thing, a national thing. There are national holidays, right? Religious holidays, go to the temple 3 times a year, that whole thing. It's not, insofar as the Torah is concerned, it's the individual and the community. And you're all accountable to each other, right? And you've got each other's backs. And you might be 12 tribes, but you're one people. Okay. 12 tribes, but one people. Right? And with the Torah to guide you. So your relationship with God is your own. The relationship you have through being a community, a tribe, a clan, a family, whatever the case may be, that's outside of yourself, even if it's your immediate family, that's already something that is outside of you and beyond you that you influence. Pardon me. And so that is also a different, perhaps, right, relationship with God. The reason why it's different is because you are only you. You have power insofar as you have the power, but when you team up with others, then what one does not have or lack, right, the other can complete. And so there's a kind of union and strength in numbers, if you will. And that's why, right, all of Israel are accountable to each other. Kyle says, everybody can tell us war is hell, and what type of hell it is. Everybody can tell us states do ugly things to advance their interests. The blatant reality is that Hamas attacked Israeli civilians. That's the blatant reality. And then people say, okay, so you're saying there was no history before October 7th? And it's always a question of the time frame. Are you looking at it 6 months back, 18 months back, 100 years 3,000 years? Where do you start counting? Okay, so now history of this region begins. It's like, you got to get that clear first. But yeah, Hamas attacked civilians because they want Israel gone. That's right there in their charter. XRP says, Ela, my family isn't too religious. You're correct. I am Catholic-centric, but upon my grandfather's death, I have deep dived into Judaism. My grandfather has many Star of David flags. What does that mean, centric? Catholic-centric? I mean, different types of Catholics. I know, like I know Irish Catholic, Polish Catholic, and of that nature. But what does it mean, Catholic-centric? Do you mean centric in is it a political views, or is it a sect of Catholicism, or do teach? Ella says, I grew up Catholic, but I have Sephardic ancestors, so Hebrew interesting to me. I like it. Yeah, so many people in Sepharad in Spain and that area, right, of the Spanish Empire. Um, they had to convert, and some of them converted externally, but still kept certain things in the home. So yeah, Sephardic ancestors. I hear you. XRP says, I wear my grandfather Star of David. Now my soul seems to resonate with the Torah. Hey, I know all about the soul resonating with a certain text or book or whatever, or scroll. I know about that. Go with it. See where it takes you. Same here, Ella. I don't really respect Mexican Catholicism. I think my grandfather was a crypto Jew in Mexico. Spain to the New World, the exile. Yes, Spain to the exile. Yes, that's right. Galut Sfarad. That's right. And then they were expelled in 1495. All of the Jews were expelled in 1495 from Spain, and later from England and other. Okay. XRP says, I just think the Virgin de Guadalupe isn't right. It's a lot of idolatry. I am surrounded by Virgin de Guadalupe images. I don't think it's right. I would argue that it's black magic. Well, hash it out in the chat or the comments, because I don't have a dog in this race. Ella says, most who couldn't leave became Catholics and came to the New World with the military. Right, those who couldn't leave, you mean the Spanish Jews? Yahadut Sfarad, as it's known, all the way up to California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, Colorado. Are you talking about Mexicans, or are you talking? Not following you. If you're responding to him or continuing, okay. XRP says, I'm at work. I gotta get ready to leave. We are limited to characters in the comments. I'm grateful to your live stream, bro. Thank you. I'll be around, not leaving, but we'll be away from keyboard. Hey, it's all good. I think I might call it a night soon. Centric meaning centralization around Roman Catholic faith here. Okay. The culture on my family's is centralized around Christianity. Okay, so Roman Catholic, and that it's centralized around Christianity. Okay, I hear you. Cool. You know what? On that note, and the chat is done. I got to the end, and on that note, I will say thank you. I deeply appreciate your time, your kind attention, your tidbits, your views, your comments, your likes, your subs, whatever the case is. The engagement that I have with you here is priceless, and I love it. Thank you for keeping me here, thank you for being here with me and conversing. Those watching now, those watching later. I will continue. Hopefully I'll stream again, maybe even this week. I'd love to. We have the Memorial Day and the Day of Independence and a lot to talk about. So hopefully, I'll go on again at some point soon, maybe this week. Until then, God bless. Be a blessing to yourself and to others, and I'll see you next time. Good night from Jerusalem.